baby, get the gallbladder removed, and then we're gonna continue this journey of being healthy, and you won't have to experience anything like this going forward. And I'm looking like, nah, like, this is a whole organ that God gave me. I need my gallbladder. Hey fasties, and to all my newbies, welcome. This is the Fast Track to Health, where we use fasting to lose weight, become healthy, and to maintain. In today's video, we're gonna be doing a part 2 of our story time of my gallbladder attack / gallbladder removal surgery. So in the previous video, I gave you all the rundown of what led up to me being to the position that I am going to be talking about today, which is my hospital stay, which ended up being like a 4-day hospital stint of me trying to make the decision of whether or not I was gonna get my gallbladder removed or not. So the first video, part 1, is about all the gallbladder attacks that I didn't know were gallbladder attacks until hindsight is 2020. I found out what was going on with me, and then I look back at those situations and I'm like, that's definitely what that was. So I left off at being at the hospital awaiting the results. I'm feeling all this shame, y'all. I'm crying out to God, praying, and I'm here alone because my husband is at home with my 4 children who are asleep for the night. And I'm just like, I should have gotten healthier sooner. I should have got my act together. Something's actually gonna be wrong with me physically, and there's nothing I could do about it at this point because it's already here. Like, I'm face to face with what I've been trying to never face. It was one of my biggest fears, and I just felt a lot of shame. So they pretty much let me know that I was gonna be staying overnight no matter what. And then they came back in the middle of the night and told me that they got the results back from my ultrasound, and while they didn't find any gallstones, it was a lot of sludge within my gallbladder. And I'm just like, okay, what does that mean? So at this point, I'm Googling. I'm like, what is sludge? Learning about what sludge is, how that affects the body. And I'm like, okay, well, if it's sludgy, then I still got a chance to, heal my body and fix it. I'm like willing to hear what y'all got to say as far as like these attacks, because that's why I'm here, because of the pain that I just couldn't function. It was unbearable. But I ain't trying to hear nothing about how to actually heal the gallbladder, because I know y'all don't actually try to heal things. Y'all just, give medicine because that's what you trained in doing. I'm not trying to throw shade or anything. It's just like, that's what you trained to do. And so the next morning, they was like, they gonna send everybody to come talk to me who needs to talk to me. So the next morning, they like, because we didn't see any sludge or any gallstones or anything, all we saw was sludge, we're gonna send you for an MRI, and that's just the next plan of action. So I was like, okay, I'm cool with that. So we go for the MRI. That was a long and experience, loud and tight. If you've never had an MRI before, it was very confining. But I'm good with stuff like that, so made it through. It was just very long and boring. I was by myself. Come back from, having the MRI, and I'm thinking I'm waiting for the results. I'm just in my room, just waiting, and a couple hours come past, and then 2 people come to my door, not my nurses, not the people who I've been talking to that's on the floor that I'm on. They just come with a wheelchair and a gown, and they like, okay, so we got you on the schedule for gallbladder removal surgery, which it has a proper name for it. I'll put it on the screen. But yeah, like, it's time to go. And I'm like, what? Nobody has come talk to me about the results from my MRI. They're like, oh, no one's told you? Okay, well, we'll just send your nurse to come talk to you, but you have to like change your gown and come on, like, it's time to like have your surgery. And I'm like, so the nurse comes in my room, and she like, oh yes, I'm sorry no one came and told you about the results, but the surgeon is like downstairs. He's able to squeeze you in, but yeah, they weren't able to like see any gallstones in the MRI, but we know that you have a gallbladder attack, so it's definitely a gallbladder, and it's just like best to remove it. And I'm just like, I'm not having surgery. And she like, what? And I'm like, no one has come to explain anything to me. I don't know what's going on, and I don't know that that's the best plan of action and the plan that I want to take for myself. And she's just like, but if you haven't gallbladder attacks, like, I get it, it's probably scary, but if you haven't gallbladder attacks, like, the recommended course of action is to get your gallbladder removed. And I'm like, okay, I understand that, but I'm not educated and I'm not going for surgery right now. Like, I'm here alone. I'm by myself. My husband's not here. No one has come talk to me about the results of my test. I don't even know why I'm on this antibiotics that's sitting right here. Oh, she goes to look at her chart. Oh yeah, they found a UTI. We're giving you antibiotics. No one has communicated that to me. I don't even know what antibiotic this is. Like, pump the brakes pretty much. So at this point, irritation all over her face. You could just see it. And I'm just like, happy on one hand that I'm at a place in my life. It took me to become 30 to be able to stand up for myself. I was one by myself, y'all. I am such a people pleaser that if that would have happened at any other time in my life, I would have been bawling, crying the next week after that experience, because I would have just went along with what they wanted me to do, even though it was very contrary to who I was and like my own desires. But I had been through so much. I have 4 children now at this point. I'm like, I'm not letting y'all do this to me. No. Let the chips fall where they may. So you could just tell she was real irritated. And so she leaves out. Then she comes back and she's like, okay, well, we're not having a surgery. And doc wants to put you on a bland diet to see how you react to food. But yeah, so that was it. Got the short end of the stick. But they still weren't releasing me. So I'm thinking, you know, they just want to wait and monitor and see how I react to this food, and then they're gonna release me, because still no one is communicating with me. And maybe I wasn't asking the right questions, but they weren't communicating with me up front in the first place either. So at this point, my husband was able to like orchestrate everything with the kids, and he found them a place to go. And so he was like on his way up to the hospital with me. So he gets there, and my mother-in-law is a nurse and my sister-in-law is a nurse. So he gets there and he already know my stance on everything. He is definitely more leaning to whatever the doctors say type of person, and I mean, more power to him. He does try to like live a life of preventative health first, but if the doctors tell him something, he gonna go with it, and it's not that big of a deal for him or to him. But I'm different, very different, and he knows that, and he respects it, and we have our but the tension as far as like how he wants to deal with the situation versus how I want to deal with the situation, but he very much respects my mind. And so he was like, look, if they saying your gallbladder is messed up, baby, get the gallbladder removed, and then we're gonna continue this journey of being healthy, and you won't have to experience anything like this going forward. And I'm looking like, nah, like, this is a whole organ that God gave me. I need my gallbladder, and then I'm gonna be healthy and do what we was planning on doing. Like, now I got the motivation because something was going wrong with me, and like, I just, you know. And it's so funny that I'm that type of person who don't want to go the medical route, but then I'm just abusing my body for years. But nevertheless, so I asked him to call my mom, my mother-in-law, and get her opinion, because I hadn't told anybody at this point. So now I was like, all right, now it's time to tell people. So I told her, my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law was like still more conservative, like, but she had less information than my mother-in-law. I like told her a little bit, well, my husband told her a little bit of the story, and she was in agreement with me, like, you know, okay, yeah, I wouldn't just go forward with, you know, getting it removed. Like, let's try to figure out if there's any other alternative routes we can take to help you with these like attacks, and then of course continue to get healthy and get yourself in a better spot so that, you know, nothing will be wrong with your gallbladder and you can heal it. And then my mother-in-law, she know how I feel about stuff, so she is definitely more in agreements with me too. Like, you ain't gotta just remove something because they say you gotta remove it. Ask good questions. But she asked me what were my liver enzymes numbers. And so, like I said, no one had communicated with me. So I'm on my chart, y'all, looking up my own information myself through the app in my hospital bed, because the nurses who right outside getting paid ain't came in and talked to me about nothing, or the doctors. I ain't gonna just blame the nurses. And so I tell her my numbers, and she was like she was very alarmed. And I was like, why she was fine like that. And she was like, that's not good. And she was talking to my husband, but this is how he related to me of what she said. I know Ree-C and I know what she wants to do, but them liver numbers are not good. She's very jaundiced, and you don't want to preserve your gallbladder in sake of losing your liver, because you can live without a gallbladder, you can't live without a liver. And she just left it at that. Like, I love you. You get to make your own decision. If you've been watching this long, take a second now and go smash that like button and comment in the comment section below to engage in my content. Okay, I had to take a little break, but now I'm gonna finish the story. So at this point, my husband is worried. Of course, his mama just told him pretty much that I'm in danger of losing my liver because of, you know, the numbers being severely elevated. And then my husband took a peek in the bathroom at my urine that they were collecting, and I definitely had dark urine. I was dehydrated. I was on continuous IV fluids the whole time I was there. And I think that is attributed to, like, I was incorporating dry fasting, so I was not getting enough fluids in. That was on me. It was just easier for me to fast sometimes, doing a dry fast than a water fast. But that's neither here nor there. So I did get a chance to talk to the gastrointestinalist, I guess that's what he's called. So he came in and he was very nice, super informative, late, and they waited a long time to communicate with me. But once he came, he took his time, he sat on the edge of the bed and like really indulged me on all the questions that I had. He didn't make me feel bad about refusing the surgery like the nurse did. He pretty much let me know if I ever changed my mind that I could reach out to him, you know, and do like the outpatient option, which at this point, I didn't want to do the surgery at all, but he wasn't pressing the fact that I had to do surgery. Like, he was letting me know like that. Of course, in his recommendation, that's what he would prefer that I do, but like, he's fine with, you know, whatever decision that I make, and he just wanted to monitor me because of my liver numbers. So before I even brought it up, and you know, my mother was all concerned, he brought it up, and then he did show me my numbers, and he said that was what he was like trying to wait and see if it would begin to drop. So that's why they pushed me on a diet to try to see if like my liver enzymes would be able to drop, because he like, it's indicating that you have a blockage somewhere, but every time we do this test, you know, the ultrasound, or we just did the MRI, we don't see it. And I was hoping that we saw it in the MRI so that we can go in with the scope and try to, you know, unlodge whatever the blockage was, and then you can move on with your life and decide to do what you want to do. But we didn't see anything, so it's like we in a catch-22. That's pretty much where we were at with it. Then the surgeon come in, and I pretty much had the same conversation with him. He reiterated a lot of what the gastro doctor was telling me, and then he was just trying to ensure me that, you know, you can live without your gallbladder. And I mean, yeah. So they brought me my tray to like test out if I would be able to eat. I was still very undecided and unsure of my decision, which way I was gonna take it. My husband was super worried at this point, but he wasn't talking much and wasn't like putting pressure on me. I just know him. And then I had the information from the doctors, had the information from my mother-in-law, and then I'm just like listening to my body intuitively, and I'm just trying to decide like, okay, what's my plan of action if I don't go through with this? Like, and so I reached out to the ladies in my Bible study, and they was praying for me, and 2 women did say that they had issues with their gallbladder. One decided to get it removed, the other did not, and she had a doctor that she wanted me to reach out to who was like, had her on like a herb supplement regimen that really helped her. And so I was gonna go that route, you know, if I decided to refuse, like stick with my decision and refuse the surgery. So at this point, they like saying that they preparing to discharge me, but no one is coming in my room to discharge me. And they finally bring my food. They brought me like boiled potatoes, carrot, a broth, a chicken broth. I think I had like some lemon thing, and some pears. I ate the pears. I ate the boiled potato and like one carrot. And when I tell y'all, instantly my stomach just like violently like started throbbing. And I think that really like sat with me, that pain that I was in every time the attack would come. Like, it wasn't as strong. It wasn't to the point where I felt like I had to vomit, because I literally didn't eat like but this much food altogether, even, you know, with the variety. But it was just the fact that knowing I only ate this amount of food, it has no oil in it, but my body is reacting like this. It did like send off a fear alert of just like the pain that I had experienced previously. And then I spent the night like pretty much in prayer all night long. Like, I would go to sleep for 30 minutes, wake up and be in prayer, asking the Lord, like, please allow me to hear your voice in this. Please give me peace. Help me to make a decision, because my desire was clearly that I did not want my gallbladder, but I didn't have peace about just getting up and leaving without like a clear plan of like what I was gonna do going forward. And so I was just asking for clarity and asking for peace, and just like, what is the answer? What is the answer, Lord? What is the answer? And ultimately, around 5 o'clock in the morning, I made the decision to go through with the surgery. And the Lord did give me peace, although it was not the decision that I wanted to make, as far as like, I didn't want to go down my organ. I didn't want to be in a position that I put myself in where I was playing with my body, playing with my health for so long, even when I knew better, to the point where now I'm here and I'm making a decision that I probably could have prevented, which I wanted to do. I started my whole fasting and healthy lifestyle journey for preventative health, because I didn't want to be in this position. And now I'm here and I'm face to face with the demon, this fear that I had, that I was, you know, trying to run from, but didn't do well. But he gave me peace. The Lord really gave me peace on my decision. And like, hindsight is 2020. When I look back now, I probably would have done well to do a long extended fast, you know, and break it very slowly with liquids and then raw foods, and I would have been in a better situation. Or even if I don't know, but things happened the way they happened, and I don't look back on it with regret now. I was very sad that I had to make the decision, but I had peace about it. So like, I was able to juggle those two emotions. Like, I had peace and clarity about the decision that I made, and I didn't walk in shame. I was able to forgive myself. But I also was sad that I was ever in that position in the first place. And then, you know, I had to go through the whole recovery process, and it just threw everything that I had in the works off. You know, I had to put a halt to my rolling fast journey. I had to pivot. And I think that's like the main thing the Lord is trying to teach me in this season, outside of just the surgery. I just feel like that's like the same thing that I keep like having to walk through, and he's trying to strengthen my ability to be able to, like, whatever the storm is, I'm gonna weather it because I'm rooted in you. And I just got to keep refocusing and keep pivoting. And so that's where I am on the other side of this journey. What I did want to share, y'all, is so when everybody started coming to visit me, because at this point I hadn't told anybody in my family outside of my father-in-law, who knew that I went to the hospital that first time. He was still thinking it was gas pain. No one in my family knew I was even in the hospital. So once I started telling them, y'all, my daddy had his gallbladder removed. It ruptured. My mama, who was in that writhing pain, who was diagnosed with GERD, went to the doctor when she went back home, and the gastrointestinalist pretty much told her that it never was GERD, because GERD don't usually last that long, and it was gallbladder attacks she was having all those years, and that her gallbladder is full of stones and she needs to get her gallbladder removed. And that was a crazy, like, why are we going through the same thing at the same time? But we didn't even know. Both of my grandparents, well, grandmothers, I don't know my grandfathers, grandmothers had their gallbladder removed, and well, one of them had it removed early in their 30s like me, and then the other one had recently had it removed probably like in the last 5 years. So it was like family history. And then when I was in the hospital, they was like, being in a fertile time in your life as a woman makes you more susceptible to like gallbladder attacks. Being overweight, of course, we know that I was overweight for a good span of years, and then also rapid weight loss, and then I was losing weight rapidly with my rolling fast protocol, trying to get healthy. Ain't that crazy? So it's like all the little markers that you need to have gallbladder attacks, I hit them. I just found that very interesting and fascinating. So I ended up going through with the surgery, and I have a video recording that whole process, so I'm not gonna go into the whole story of that. But what I will say is, y'all, when they went in, they did find a huge stone that was blocking one of my bile ducts, which was probably causing all of those attacks previously that I talked about in part 1. And he tried to move it with like liquid and like flush it out, and it was like stuck and lodged in there so tight, so he had to break it up like into little pieces and then flush it out. And if they was able to like find that in like the imaging before and do that through like the scope, because I ended up having to do the surgery, and then in the surgery they saw the stone, so then I had to do another surgery, which was the scope, to go in and break up the gallstone. If they was able to find it, I probably would have been able to do that option and still have my gallbladder, but they couldn't find it without me going through with the surgery. And I feel like that was the Lord's way of like giving me relief, because if I wouldn't have said yes, I don't know if I would have still been in pain. You know, I don't know if it would have gotten unlodged and moved and cleared its way out. But it is what it is. I have no gallbladder now, and I'm still fasting, and I'm still pushing forward on my, you know, my journey. And it gives me even more ammunition to continue on with my healthy lifestyle, because now my liver is taking on a job that it was never intended on doing, because it had, you know, the help of the gallbladder. But I'm putting all that pressure, you know, the burden on my liver, and so I got to make sure that it is very healthy. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed my story time of my gallbladder attacks and me refusing and then rolling that decision back. If you did and you're at the end of this video, I want you to make sure that you smash that like button, and thank you so much for watching.